This darn tough sock has been in my work boot for an 8-hour workday of moving heavy furniture. And I'm about to sniff it. No, I'll be all right. Man, it smells new. This is crazy. Merino wool, you're my new hero. Hey folks, Don from wellrig.com, devoted to bringing you the toughest and most durable products on the face of the planet. And today we're taking a look at Darn Tough Socks. I like that name. It speaks for itself. Darn Tough is made in Northfield, Vermont, and they've been making socks for over 40 years. 40 years. One of the things I love about Darn Tough is that they didn't outsource. They haven't outsourced their work to overseas or anything like that. And I think people that are looking into tough companies and people that make good products should be supporting smaller companies like this. I think they deserve our business, even if it costs a little bit more. But you're getting top-end quality socks here. You think, well, what's so great about socks? Well, these things are guaranteed for life. These socks are guaranteed. If you wear them out, you put a hole in them by wearing them out, you get a new pair for free. Try to find that anywhere else in the clothing industry. Think about it. These are high wear and tear items. You wear through socks all the time. I have these Walmart socks, man. Every year I'm buying new socks. How about buying a pair of socks you'll never have to replace? So, what about quality control? Well, if you have everything under one roof, think about this. If you have your manufacturing, your designing, your packaging, your shipping, your financial office all under one roof, basically Rick Cabot, the co-owner of Darn Tough, can step out of his office and manage every area of it and see to taking care of certain problems, especially when it comes to the quality of his products. So that's great. And there's about 3 different aspects of quality control that happens. And well, think about it like this. I think of quality control, for instance, with Darn Tough socks, is kind of like airport security. You're not going to get to your airplane unless you've at least shown your ID 3 times plus your boarding pass. So in this case, when you get into quality control, the more redundancies, the better the quality of your product's going to be. So like Rick Cabot once said, according to their website, he says that they put just as much into their finishing as they do into the actual manufacturing process of their socks. So what does that look like? Well, according to them, the first thing that happens when they come off their I don't want to call them sewing machines, knitting machines, is they have an inspection right off the knitting machine. Then they go and the socks are what's called boarded. They're put on these templates to check for size and uniformity, confirmation to their standards within their quality control, parameters. Then they're sent off to shipping or packaging rather. And again, that's when they're inspected a third time. Even like these, sometimes there's threads left from the knitting machines, and that's all trimmed off before they're finally packaged. Look, a sock that you're getting from China through Walmart or something like that hasn't maybe even been looked at once. They've been just rammed through a machine and packaged, and just like that, they're shipped to you. All right. So this is one of the things that's great about Darn Tough and smaller companies is they put a lot into their quality control, and I think it's worth it. All right, well, let's take a look at one of my favorite socks here. It's the work sock, and it comes with, you'll see right here, it comes with a full cushion toe box, which means right here, there's a little bit of extra cushion. I don't know if you can see it kind of pops up. There's extra cushion for steel toe boots, which is really great. Like, I live in Canada, and this is a big deal. When you're working with steel toe boots and composite toe boots, your toes tend to get a lot colder quicker just because of the conductivity that metal brings across your toes. So this is really great. It's extra cushion on the bottom. We got some, which brings a lot more comfort when you're working long days. Also, I just like the color. It's got that kind of high vis orange. It's a work sock. It's the type of thing that you really I don't know. It looks good for a work sock. Anyway, so here's a few of the features that I wanted to point out. Because I think this one ties together a lot of the features that you're going to find in most Darn Tough socks. Some are thinner. For instance, here's my wife's. This is a sport sock, and it contains less merino wool, which, by the way, is the major selling point for these. Merino wool is extremely breathable. It's great for regulating temperature in your feet. For instance, in hot climates, you're not going to overheat. In cold weather, you're not going to freeze your toes. There's just something about merino wool that works to insulate while still breathing and keeping your feet at stable temperature. So if you have a tendency to have stinky, clammy feet, I've worn this, actually, I haven't even washed them. I wore this for 8 hours yesterday, and I put it to my nose just a few minutes ago. No problem. Doesn't even smell bad at all. Merino wool doesn't carry odor like these cotton socks do. It's really quite incredible. So especially for hikers or people that are can't get a washing machine so often, it's not that it's a lot more antimicrobial as well. There's a lot of antimicrobial properties within merino wool, which makes it really a superior product. It's expensive. Merino wool isn't cheap material to use, but Darn Tough employs a lot of things that are a lot better than in their sock making. For instance, I want you to take a look at this seam right here. You see that seam? I'll put it at an angle here. You see that? Do you see any bump? No. I mean, barely anything. And when your foot is inside the sock, you don't feel that lump that you feel on most, of these cotton socks that we get. Okay? Again, right here. Where's the stitching? There is none. It's a miracle. I don't know how they put these things together, but they do use a lot of needles in their machines. A lot of needles in their machines. Now there's just one more thing I want to show you, and I want to show you why some of these socks are so comfortable, especially the ones with full cushion. In other words, the extra stitching that goes into these to give them real comfort. So here's the work sock. And I just want you to look at the inside of this. I'm going to zoom in on it, and I described it on my blog article. If you want more in depth, you can look at the blog article, but I'll just describe what this is like. If you look closely, let's see if you can get in close. You see little loops. You see those loops? It's like a towel. This thing, when you put these socks on, especially these ones with the extra cushion, it's like wrapping your foot in a luxury towel. I'm not even kidding. It is very. Some people say, are these things scratchy because they're wool? Not at all. They're like silky smooth. It's like, it's amazing. Like, I mean, I don't buy stuff for luxury's sake. That's not me. I don't buy these socks for luxury. I buy them for durability. But one of the great things about buying top quality products for durability's sake is the side benefit is they're often durable, but they're luxurious too. I mean, I didn't want to take these things off. At the end of the day, I took them off. My feet were not clammy. This is 8 hours of moving furniture. My feet were not clammy. They were comfortable. They weren't sore. I mean, depending on the shoes you're wearing, you might have sore feet, but my shoes were broken in, and it was very, very comfortable. I do want you to note, though, is that there is some pilling. Let me show you. And they say many people say that initially you will get some pilling on these, but if you take care of them and you're following the instructions, these socks must be washed on a low temperature, and best is to line dry them. Okay, they're pre-shrunk, but you should, give them some love. They're going to treat you well for many, many years, right? So that's my advice as far as that's concerned. But the pilling really isn't too bad, and I'd imagine after a while it settles down. It's just there is some fuzz from the manufacturing process that's working its way off. the stitching on these socks is 1,441 stitches per square inch. 1,441? I don't know how they do it. Like, let me see if I can zoom this in here, just to give you an idea of how fine the stitching is. And this is with wool. Mind you, people are so used to wool, they're thinking of grandma's socks that are super thick, and that's not the case. Let me look at this one. Now, depending on their socks, for instance, sports socks, some of their sports socks have less merino wool, but this one still has, I believe, 41% merino wool. 41% merino wool. Here it is. The women's running. Let's check it out. 41% merino wool. If you looked at a sock like this, would you say it was made of wool? See, that's the thing about technology these days. They just, it's incredible. So the merino that they source is a very fine thread so that they can make tight, very, very tight and precise stitching so that they don't add bulk without adding bulk. They can add bulk if they want, for instance, at these toes, but that just means adding stitches, not adding larger yarn. So what was my experience like? I put these things on. I wore a couple sets here. My wife wore a couple, and she gives her opinion on the website on wellrig.com/darntoughsocks. You can have a look there for her perspective as well. I put these on, like I said, I mentioned, as far as comfort. Boy, stepping up from tube socks it's like you don't want to go back, right? As far as design, well, they fit. Let's talk about fit first. One of the things about durability in a sock is it has to fit right, and so one of the guarantees with Darn Tough socks is if these don't fit perfectly, just send them back. We'll get you a new pair. But they do have a good sizing chart, and you can take a look at, if you're thinking, yeah, these are the right socks for me, head on over to my website. I've got a sizing chart there for you to help you out on wellrig.com/Darn Tough socks. But for me, I mean, they fit just like a glove, perfectly. I just followed the sizing chart, and they came. One other note, just as a little cheat, I don't know if you can see this. You see that M? That's the size of the sock, and if you have multiple people in your house with different size socks, you can always tell your size because they're stitched right inside. So design. Let's talk about design. Here's the thing. I'm a boring guy. I'm not into whiz-bang, flashy things. Here's my wife's, for instance. She likes color. Yeah? This is, more colorful than... For me, I'm not into that. So I like boring. Darn Tough has a lot of colors as far as selection. They've got some pretty bold designs. So it's not a selling point for me. It might be a selling point for a lot of other people. There's a lot of individuality that you can have with your socks if you want to do that. And Darn Tough definitely has a lot of options as far as looks is concerned. For me, I'm utilitarian. I'm not into standing out. I'm into putting these things to work. And that's the main thing. So from anecdotal evidence, I've heard the hikers can go at least 700 miles over hard terrain, no problem, before needing replacement. And that's, heavy abuse, day in and day out abuse. And then they're happy to replace them if you wear a hole in them. So, and this is the point for me. Bottom line is, they're comfortable socks. The heck, they're even luxurious. But the point for me is that when I buy a pair of socks like these, I don't ever have to replace them for the rest of my life. Well, at least I don't have to pay for them. A while back, I did an audit of the clothing industry as far as the best warranties available in the clothing industry. If you want to look at that, you can go over to my website and check it out. The top 5 clothing warranties. Darn Tough came up on top. I mean, you just couldn't beat them. It's an unconditional, guaranteed for life. Look, if you don't believe me, it says right there, unconditionally guaranteed for life. To me, that's like a windfall. For people that are looking at, why do I call it wellrig.com? It's about re-rigging your life and setting yourself up with good quality products that are going to serve you for a long time and stop buying junk. It's just going to fill the landfills. It's bad for the economy. It's bad for the economy because we're buying junk from overseas and not supporting your companies. It's bad for our environment because we're filling our landfills with socks and sneakers and all kinds of high wear and tear items that we don't need to be. And it's great for your wallet because you're saving money over the long term. And there's a high level of customer satisfaction too. So in other words, if you buy something you love, you're going to take care of it and you're going to love it too. They're not just going to be junky, right? You don't buy junky stuff and love junky stuff. You buy good stuff, you love it, you take care of it. So here's my verdict. You know, I'm not saying you should run out and buy Darn Tough socks. They are, they're costly. Average price in around $20 a pair. But if you can rotate, this is what I'm doing. This is what my plan is rotate out. As my socks wear out, one at a time, and just, buy a pair. And then sooner or later, basically open up my sock drawer, and all I got is Darn Tough socks. I'm good for life. See, I'm not a person that's into buying stuff and this and that just because. I buy stuff for a good reason. And I think that a lot of you who are viewing this are looking for ways to make your life simpler, less unpredictable, and more reliable. And this is one of those ways. And for more tips and more products like this, you can head over to wellrig.com, and where I give you all kinds of tips and review the toughest products on earth. We got some other great products coming up soon that I'm excited to review for you guys. And, keep going. Keep it up. Look at how you can well rig and get well rigged and take care of yourself, and be proud of the products you buy and help other companies that are doing a great job. So I say to Darn Tough, you're doing a darn good job. Keep it up. And people, we need to support companies like this.